Yes, guys, everything bite-sized here. I hope you're all doing well. We're back with another mental health video. This one is about drugs and addiction and which ones ruin someone's life the quickest. The first answer is gambling, and I've just got to say, I agree that gambling is a serious addiction that can actually ruin people's lives, and you could even call it a drug addiction because it chemically reacts in the brain the same as drugs do and activates dopamine and the reward system in the brain. So let's see what people are saying in response to gambling. This one is potentially the worst and is so underreported too. I worked in a bookies for a while and the destruction it caused was unbelievable. A guy actually handed us in an end myself note before stating the reason for wanting to off himself was the extreme debt he had from gambling. I don't think he followed through with it, but it's something I won't forget regardless. Possibly one of the most morally corrupt industries, which is really saying something. No benefit to society whatsoever. I agree. I think gambling adverts should be absolutely illegal. And to be honest with you, I can understand why gambling has been made illegal in the past. I know people, like anything that any prohibition, like people end up causing a black market and criminals take over because people will always want to gamble, like people will always want to do drugs, but like gambling is just atrocious. I am so surprised it is legal. And anyway, agreed. Consider myself addicted to gambling even though I spent maybe 30 quid a week on it. I have mates that spend that every few minutes. Yeah, so me personally speaking, as me right now, yeah, I was addicted to high leverage crypto trading. So what I used to do is I used to put in 50 quid or 100 quid, set the leverage to 100 times or 125 times, which means that they essentially lend you 120 or 100 times the 100 you put in. So what is 100 times 100? Let me see quickly. What is 100 times 100? So basically, I would, using 100 quid, I would be trading with £10,000, yeah? And sometimes, the thing is with leverage is like, yes, you get to trade with that amount of money, but if the price goes against the way you say it's going to go, even just a little bit, then boom, you lose all the money. The trade gets absolutely liquidated. It's very high risk. And I would do this all the time. And sometimes, like one time I got up to £7,000, yeah, £7,000 from about £100. And instead of cashing that out, I just continued until I lost it. And I had a serious gambling addiction with this. But anyway, let's look at some of the other comments. And online, it doesn't even feel real. Have done my share of €1,000 blackjack hands. I'm not fully off it, but I've been a lot better and I have deposit limits now, just do it for fun. Although deposit limits and bans don't do anything when there are like 1,000 casinos online. Yeah, it's a huge industry, isn't it? Let's have a look. How much gambling? How much revenue does gambling generate per year annually? Let's have a look. It's a huge industry. We'll just look at in the United Kingdom, and the United Kingdom's got about 60 million people. Can we find out how many people, how much yield? I don't know. It's a lot of money anyway. Let's put it that way. It's that people that are constantly chasing the high of a previous, usually quite small win, or they have themselves convinced that any day now they'll literally win the jackpot and never have to worry about money again. Yeah, that's what I was like with the cryptocurrency. Now I've got no cryptocurrency because I lost it all gambling. Anyway, if I put the amount of money I put into gambling with cryptocurrency on high leverage trading, if I just put that into cryptocurrency over time, then I would probably have a good few thousand, or like £10,000, and then it would have gone up in price. So I probably would have ended up with about £50,000. Instead, I had to like high leverage trade it like an idiot. Anyway, carrying on. This is still about the gambling comment, because we're going to get on to some comments about drugs. So this is pretty much it. Starts out quite innocent, and this country really buys into horse racing and greyhound racing. Sounds like the UK. It's weird too. I hate jumps races and the whole greyhound industry, but the addiction does take hold. I can imagine. I enjoy playing the instant win games on the National Lottery website, but I have my weekly limits set and I stick to them because I can see how it can easily become addictive, and I have addictive personality to begin with. There's so many options when it comes to gambling. Right. Let's find. Oh, okay. Here's someone talking about alcohol. Yeah, so I agree with them straight away. I think alcohol is the worst one. They say alcohol with a lot of people, but it's often overlooked. Yeah, it's overlooked because it's so like accepted in society and so ingrained in society that people don't realise how bad a full-blown alcohol addiction is. Anyway, let's see what they've got to say. I've spoken plenty about alcohol on my channel and how bad it is, so you can go and check out my other videos if you want. Alcohol with a lot of people, but it's often overlooked. But one lad who sticks out, he was a bit easily led and came from a good family, would have played rugby and GAA underage, I don't know what that means. It got into a bad group and started smoking hash at 14 or so. That sounds like me. Started drinking as well, probably the first group of friends he felt he had, but he ended up on heroin. Yep, that was me. Just a demise from a regular young teenager playing sport to crippling addict. It ultimately led to court cases and suspended sentences for theft charges to fund debts. Yeah, I've spoken about my heroin addiction and drug addiction and all of that sort of stuff plenty of times on my channel, so I'm not going to do it here. You can check out my other videos if you want. Exactly the same for my brother. Bad group at 13, drinking, drugs, stealing and worse, long-time heroin user, dead at 27. It's crazy how many stories like this there are. Someone said, so sorry for your loss. I'm so sorry for your loss as well, mate. If you randomly end up watching this video. Maybe a hot take, but in my early 20s I worked in a lot of restaurants for a year in Ireland and in Europe, mostly Switzerland and Italy. People were on everything you can think of, but the people who spiraled downwards the fastest were not the druggies, it was the gambling. The gambling addicts, like proper ones, exhibit all the usual addiction qualities but operate at a far quicker speed far quicker than drug users. Too much drugs kill you, but a gambling addict can burn through everything in an hour. Like, there were lads getting paid at the beginning of a shift for the previous week that were broke by the end of it. Wow. So drugs are terrible, but they do damage slower than someone hit with gambling addiction. Someone gets the bug and they can destroy their life in a day. Yeah, it's crazy how like it's so morally bankrupt, in my opinion. How I'm sure there's other countries that are like this, but in America, in Las Vegas, you could go there, blow all your life savings, blow your kids' college fund, blow everything, then rack up as much debt as you can on credit cards and etc. Take out loans against your house, like all of this sort of stuff. And they'll even the casinos will take your house deed as collateral. And I think that is disgusting, mate. Like, the amount of money those casinos must make, yeah. And it's just like, people will literally sell everything for gambling. They'll put their family on the street. It's just as bad as any drug addiction, but like this person seems to be saying, it's bad because it has no serious impact on the body, and it can't kill you. It's easier to just to go fully into it and lose everything. It's really interesting that these people are talking about gambling. I want to see some more people with alcohol. With drink and drugs, your body hits a point where it can't deal with any more for a while. You pass out / stop functioning. A gambler can keep going and going. It's terrifying, and there's always something to bet on. Yeah, that's very true. Cocaine. I'm only in my early 20s and I had inherited some money, moved to a new town, fell in with the wrong crowd, and it went from having a drink at the weekend to sitting up snorting lines every night and flushing 38,000 euros down the toilet within the space of a year, all for some stupid fun. I'm officially a year sober now and so much happier. Yeah, cocaine is a serious drug, man. Like, I know everyone knows that, that's not a newsflash, but cocaine is so addictive. It's arguably as addictive as heroin. It's just the withdrawals might not be as intense, but it is so addictive, especially crack cocaine. Crack cocaine you can blow through 200 pounds in a day easily, whereas if you're a heroin addict, you could hold yourself for 10 to 50 quid a day. Like 50 quid a day will easily hold you as a heroin addict and keep you from getting sick. But like if you're a crack addict, you could go through £1,000 in a day. I'm not even joking, like it's that serious. And when I was a drug user, I'm not going to get too deep into it because like I said, I've done it already on my channel. When I was a drug user, I used to put heroin and crack cocaine together in a needle and shoot that, and I tell you what, that's the most addictive chemical experience I've ever had in my life, and I highly beg that no one try that, because it's like it led to me having an abscess, nearly losing my hand. So don't do that, man. Someone's in response to the cocaine message says, okay, I'm going to read the cocaine message again. Cocaine, I'm only in my early 20s and I'd inherited some money. Moved to a new town, fell in with the wrong crowd, and it went from having a drink at the weekend to sitting up snorting lines every night and flushing 38,000 euros down the toilet within the space of a year, all for some stupid fun. I'm officially a year sober now and so much happier. Alcohol definitely runs on both sides of the family. Seeing what it did to my folks is the reason I've chosen not to drink alcohol. Same, my mum is just out of hospital for the 4th time in the last 2 years from the drink, not counting the time she's gone to rehab to sober up. I don't think it's talked about enough. I can't control drink myself and I'm almost 6 months without it. Sorry to hear about your mum. I hope she's able to get the right help and get off the drink. Well done to you for being off of it for 6 months. Massive achievement. Congrats. Okay, now me speaking. I'm gonna get personal. I'm not gonna, I've already spoke about this on my channel, but I lost my stepdad to alcoholism, and that really sucked. I've got a family member. I'm not gonna say who because they told me not to tell anyone, but like I've got a family member, someone, and they're dying, and that's partly from alcoholism. I've seen my mate have an alcoholic seizure in town, which was horrendous. Yeah, if you try and stop cold turkey off alcohol, you can die. It's serious. So if you're thinking about stopping alcohol, go to an addiction center and get the right help and the right advice, because you have to cut down with alcohol. With heroin, you can just cut cold turkey, and the chances of dying are very, 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 very slim. But like with heroin, with alcohol, the chances are actually really high that you're going to have a seizure and die. Like, you're actually more likely to have a seizure than not, and every time you have a seizure, there's a risk of death, and also of long-term damage. You know, like it's don't go cold turkey off of alcohol. If you can, try and avoid getting addicted to alcohol in the first place, because that is a demon, that is a monkey on your back for real. It's as serious or worse than any other drug out there. And it is a drug, like it's technically a drug. I don't care what anyone says, but like, you know, like someone else says 2 different drugs. Cocaine. Know a guy who was a fairly decent lad, always up for a laugh and fond of a drink. He started doing coke when he was on nights out, and it progressed from 1 to 2 nights a week to 3 to 4, until eventually it was every night. Then pretty quickly it became every day. He has 2 young kids, had a lovely home with a doting wife and a good job. In the space of a year he lost it all. He's homeless now, barred from all the local pubs, nightclubs, hotels, has no job, no contact with his kids, and his ex has a bar in order. Last time I saw him, he was missing 4 teeth and the cartilage on his nose had disintegrated. Wow, yeah, that is deep. The losing the teeth sounds like maybe he owed someone money, and screwed them over, and yeah, that is so bad. He's definitely probably might like a evolved, so to speak, into using crack cocaine, because that's what a lot of people do. They start off on the powder, and then they're so addictive, they're not getting that rush they're looking for anymore. So they progress to crack. But you know, like either way, it's bad. 2, heroin. Have a distant family member who had a fairly tough life. His mum died when he was young and he was raised by an alcoholic dad. He was always a bit troubled and by 19 got a girl pregnant. We all thought that would be the end of him, but he managed to clean up his act and they rented a flat together. Had another baby and he got a job. It lasted 5 years until he spiraled out of control and then ended up on heroin. He got his girlfriend hooked too, and their flat was burned to the ground because they owed money. He eventually had to leave the country. His girlfriend lost custody of the kids and now they're in foster care. Nobody knows anything about where he is now because he's in hiding, but saw a few posts on Facebook over the last year or so, and he's like a shadow of himself, has lost so much weight and just looks frail. Someone says, how absolutely awful. Hopefully one day he might find the strength to crawl his way out. Addiction is a horrible thing. I truly hope he can overcome it. Yeah, I think the main reason that I thank, me personally speaking now, I thank God for getting me off of hard drugs, and even for getting me off of cannabis as well. But like one of the major drivers for me is not only that I have a daughter, but also like I nearly lost my hand. And if I lost my hand, I wouldn't have been able to type. I love typing. I know it sounds weird, but I love touch typing on the keyboard, and I wouldn't be able to play guitar, which I love doing also. And you need something big. You need a big motivator in your life to get off of these substances. I do have to clarify that I wasn't when I was allowed in my daughter's life, I got used for a kid basically, yeah, like and this person has used 3 different guys for kids and jibbed them all on, yeah, from what I can tell. She I had a successful business when she moved across the country, and then so I moved to be closer to my daughter. I had a successful business and everything, yeah, and she wouldn't let me see my kid, and I spiraled out of control and ended up on heroin. And it's no excuse. It's my fault. I'm the one who pulled the plunger. You know, like, but like it's trauma often caused. Also, I was undiagnosed bipolar at the time, so I was unmedicated, so I was trying to medicate myself. It's just like trauma can really like cause people to spiral down these really unfortunate situations. Yeah, cocaine is serious. Like someone says, it truly is a moron's drug. To take away drug for just a moment and look at the subculture. I smoked weed with fairly sound people, took acid with people who knew what they were doing, shrooms the same. Everyone I took cocaine with has been an effing clown. Yes, it turns people into effing idiots, but it attracts them too. People think it's cool and it's the easiest drug to take. It's very confusing to people who have had their friend going around with bags of coke, developing a very nasty addiction, who hasn't smoked a joint before. It truly is a new fad with these efforts. It's all over the place and it's not like it was even 5 years ago. They were taking blow now, which is not even proper cocaine, but the same CUNTs will be telling you all about it when you've been there 3 years ago and realising how effing dumb it was. The Lynx Africa drug, they should call it. Bunch of Bobby Joes. I have no idea what that means. Someone else said it's the worst drug. It's also wildly unethical, literally tearing up South America. It should be legalised because the idiots who take it here won't stop, and South Americans shouldn't have to live in hell. It turns people into self-righteous CUNTs and doesn't even give you any euphoria. Even the best is just a bit meh. Yeah, it is tearing up South America. There's the amount of people that die through cocaine production and trafficking is astounding. I have no idea how many people it is, but I know that there's a lot of power struggles and wars and you know, like narco-terrorism and slave labor even involved, and coercion and kidnappings and murders, and it's just a lot happens in it. So I agree that it should be legalized because people are going to take it. Britain is is the worst country in the Europe for taking drugs. Do you know they actually tested the waste from sewers, and you can test positive. Like Britons take so much cocaine that the sewerage tests positive for cocaine from people pissing it out. It's crazy, man. Someone else says, I might leave it in a minute. Someone else says, alcohol, in my opinion, ruins lives, but slowly and with longevity. Cocaine, on the other hand, can bring a person from first-time user to a snivelling lying addict within a year. Again, just personal experience. I agree fully. Alcohol is a long, drawn-out, painful process, whereas something like cocaine or heroin, you can get completely changed within a year. But I will say something, yeah, like one thing that I think is worse than all the others, yeah, maybe even worse than the alcohol, is synthetic cannabis. That is, do you know what? Let me try and find a thread on how bad synthetic cannabis is. Bad is synthetic cannabis. Reddit. Right. Okay. Let me try and find a thread, yeah, because this fits in with this. I might have to do a video. I might have to find a video and do. Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to do a video just about it by itself. But I'll tell you what I've seen that do to people, and how quick it's destroyed people, is absolutely disgusting. It turns people into a shell of themselves. They look physically unwell. They act mentally unwell. I'm talking about K2 or Mamba and stuff like that. It like absolutely grips the person. They have horrible withdrawal symptoms. They like, put it this way, I know of heroin addicts who have been really highly addicted to heroin, and they stopped taking heroin because they can't afford it, started smoking K2 or Spice because it was cheaper, and they smoked it so much that they were so blasted they didn't even realise they were going through heroin withdrawals. That shows you how strong that stuff is. But anyway, yeah, like gambling, alcohol, cocaine, obviously meth could be arguably, from what some people have said. I'm surprised no one mentioned meth, because meth can be the most addictive drug like out there, arguably. But like, I might do a video just about meth and a video just about synthetic cannabinoids. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, guys. You've been locked into Everything Bite Size. Check out my other content and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.